We're live. Hopefully everybody can hear me, see me. Everybody, let's wait for a couple minutes. Let some people come in. It always takes people a few minutes to come in. Uh-huh. Yeah, hang on a second. What? Hold on. Don't come in here. You're not allowed in here. Likes to scratch stuff up. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Sawadee Cup. Good morning. What's the one reason why people move to Thailand? We talked about this before, but there's some different factors going on now. But I still would like to know, hey, Daniel, how you doing? Uh, you know, it used to be people go, oh, I know why everybody's going there. It's the women. But that's not the reason. And then there's some people, oh, I love the temples. No, come on. That's not the reason. Is it because of the cheap food, the cheap beer? What is the one reason why people come here? And it's funny because I've been looking at Thailand to see where it ranks as a luxury destination. And on some lists it is considered a luxury destination because there are some very, very nice places here, some very upscale places, thousand night $1,000 a night for a hotel, that kind of thing. I personally don't think it's a luxury destination, but then really I probably only stayed in one or two hotels that would be considered luxury hotels, at least here. And so I started thinking about this. I started looking into it, and I thought, well, what is the reason why people come? And everybody has their own reason, but it all boils down to one thing. And in 2022, Westerners are choosing to visit elsewhere. They're choosing to visit Europe, and just for American travelers, they're staying in America instead of coming to Southeast Asia, especially younger visitors. And I've said this before personally, and I do believe this, but I think Thailand as a destination for Westerners has been done to death. It's oversaturated. And Thailand needs tourists. Tourists don't need Thailand. There are plenty of places to come. And so in today's stream, we're going to explore what is the reason for tourists and expat choosing Thailand as a getaway and also a retirement destination. And is it the friendly people? Is it the wonderful culture? Just what is it? Or is it because Thailand is inexpensive and you can get 5 times the food and beer that you can get back home? Yindi ton rap, sawadee krap tukon, which means welcome, good morning, nice of you to join me. Before we get started, do me a favor and hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you like the channel and what I'm doing, consider throwing a little support, a little love by hitting the join button down below, or picking some merch up, merch like this. From my website in americaninbangkok.com, or by any other of the methods shown down below in the descriptions. I just saw an article that came out, and it was saying that the Thai government is predicting that next year, the tourism industry is going to be back to 80% of their pre-COVID numbers. And that led me to think, well, yeah, who's going to be these tourists? Because, yeah, there's some people coming in. Obviously, the people who are watching the stream generally are people who are interested. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Daniel, Alpharetta, Jim. and Mr. Tom. Good morning. Thank you for joining me as always. Uh, I think about the tourists here, and everybody in this stream is someone who has an interest in Thailand. Whether it's a passing, fading interest, whether it's they're obsessed with Thailand, they think Thailand is paradise, whatever it might be. It's because they have an interest. Now, I know from my demographic that there are younger people interested in Thailand. They don't generally speak a lot in the chat. They don't generally converse with us. The older people are the ones who tend to be the ones interested in my channel, maybe because I'm older. But I've noticed something, and I didn't think of it. One of my buddies told me about this, and he was telling me how he's in Pattaya, and he noticed that there's an awful lot of older people and not very many younger people. And I started thinking about this and thinking about some of the places that I've been recently, and just around town in Bangkok, and yeah, most of the people here are a bit older. Most of the foreigners here are a bit older. And very few are, good morning, Wesley. Very few are, say from the 20 to 39 age bracket. That is the main demographic for tourists, or it has been the main demographic of tourists in general, but also in Thailand. Now, we're not talking about Chinese, Indians, Russians. We're not talking about that. What about the Westerners? So it got me to thinking, so what is the deal? Why do Westerners want to come to Thailand? First and foremost, they want to come for the value. We should know that. Let's say a guy's coming here because he wants to go to Pattaya, he wants to party, he wants to be with girls. Okay, maybe if he pulls some girl out of a bar and he spends $50 or $100, yeah, okay, great. He's going to spend less than he would spend in Vegas, and he's going to have a good time doing it. But then you factor in the airfare, the hotel, everything else. It's not so cheap. Somebody comes and they want to hang out and go see all the temples. They want to do the tourism thing and sightsee. When you factor in the price of airfare, especially now because the airfare prices have risen, when you factor all this in, Thailand is not a great value anymore. It's not the value that it once was. I've come over here on I think it was a $300 ticket before, round trip. Gennaro, good morning. Good morning, Mr. LA. So it makes me wonder, and I just read a report, let's see here, I believe, now this is an Amex, I believe it's Amex, let's see here, yeah. Well, it was an article written by the president of American Express Travel. And right now, that their card members, they are planning for international trips. However, here are the 10 destinations that they are traveling to. Number 1 is London. Number 2 is Paris. Number 3 is New York. Number 4 is Rome. Number 5 is Atlanta. Number 6 is Athens. 7 is Orlando. 8 is Seattle. 9 is Miami. And 10 is Vegas, baby. Yeah, well, how many full moon parties are there? I mean, really. Comparatively speaking, that number is low. And that's one area in Thailand. If you go to Pattaya, you're not going to see that. Yeah, you might see some more in Chiang Mai, but you're going to see a lot of expats there and a lot of tourists there that tend to be older. So I do think that the trend is that the demographic of visitors here, whether they are expats, we know that becoming an expat for somebody who is younger is difficult in Thailand. So a lot of them are just going, screw Thailand, I'll go somewhere else. They're going to places like I've said before. They're going to places like Ecuador. They're going to places like Serbia. They're going to places other than Thailand. And it's so funny that, like you say, it's dirt cheap. I don't think, really, I don't think you know what you're talking about, honestly. Because, oh, what happened here? Hey, Soy Dog Cowboy, how you doing, man? Uh, the prices of in Thailand are rising, and they are rising in a fairly rapid fashion. And if you know, okay, yeah, you're going to get a good deal if you come as a tourist, but factor in the airfare, factor in the hotel. It's not all that cheap. You can go to other places for just as cheap and have just as good of a time. I mean, honestly, if you think about it, it is not dirt cheap. It is cheaper. You want to go out for a nice meal? Yeah, maybe it's a little bit cheaper, but go to some really nice restaurant. You're still going to pay, it's still going to add up, man. It's not like you're going to pay $5 and get yourself a gourmet meal. You're not. You want to get a really nice hotel here? It's still going to cost you $300-400. You can get a nice hotel, you can get deals and stuff like that, but those deals are starting to fall to the wayside because they know people are coming here. And prices have been rising for quite some time. Now, granted, I live here and I'm in it, and so I don't always see some things. It's like I'm in the middle of it, so it's hard for me to see everything. But I have a lot of people who I talk to, and, yeah, you can get a reasonable deal. You can get, you can still get, there still are values to be found. But those values, when you add in everything else, are not as great as they once were. And if you go other places, like people are going to Mexico. I mean, really, people are going to Canada. People are going to London again. They always go to London. But so the point is that the demographic is changing. The younger people, not as many younger people are coming to Thailand, and the tourists who are coming to Thailand tend to be the Chinese and the Indians and the Russians. And guess what? For the Chinese and the Indians, the airfare is really fairly cheap. They can get good deals, and this is the thing. Yeah, you want to stay here for 600 baht a night. That's considered. 600-700 baht a night is considered a good deal. You get a fairly nice place, like a 3-star hotel that is decent. That's considered fair. Okay, so but we're not only talking about expats who are 34 and retired. We're talking about as a whole. As a whole, there are not that many 34-year-old retired expats. The majority of retired people here tend to be 50 and over, because Thailand is fairly difficult for people who are under 50. But if you were to come here and let's say that condo on the beach was 60,000 baht, would you still come here? I don't know. Maybe you would. It depends how much money you have. It's all relative. But I'm saying the vast majority of people, they wouldn't come here. That's what I mean. Prices are rising. And they're rising everywhere. However, once again, the price of airfare is as expensive or more expensive than before COVID. And so when you factor that in, I think, you're dealing with higher prices. And then you come in and you're like, well, now there's, listen, starting October 1st, one good thing is that you can get a 45-day stay without any visa at all. If you're an American or Brit or Australian, you can come for 45 days. You don't even need a visa. Before it was 30. You can get an extension. 1,900 baht, another 45 days. You know, well, eventually you will be required to change that visa. I'm gonna say if you're lucky, you'll get a full 4 years out of that ED visa. Maybe you get a little bit more. I don't know. I don't know because the visas are always changing. I've given up trying to follow every single visa and how long you can stay and everything. You know, I hear all kinds of different stories from people. Just the other day, we had Tom on, who has been a long time expat. He's over 50. He's got the money, and he just was in a position where it was inconvenient for him. You know, so he tried to just go across the border, and he found out that it wasn't as easy as he thought. Now, just because it's not easy doesn't mean that it's not fair. Sometimes there are people out there who think they should be able to stay here forever and they don't need a visa. And, oh, why can't. Thailand has changed, man. The mentality has changed, the look has changed. Imagine what's going to happen in another couple of years when all these sky trains are done. Supposedly, Thailand is working towards having a high income economy, and they actually are moving towards that. And I think that to some degree they have achieved some success. I don't know if that's correct or not, Tom. That's not what I heard. But they generally know better than we do. Agents generally know better than we do, but you don't need an agent for that. As far as I know, the extension is 45 days, Well, you know what? The thing is, I was thinking about this the other day, and I was talking to somebody. My buddy Steve from Steve's Kitchen is here in Thailand now, and we've had some long conversations. And like I said, people do not need Thailand. Yes, oh, we want to come. Oh, we miss it. Oh, my girlfriend's there. All that shit will pass. People don't need Thailand. Thailand needs the people. And that's the thing. And their goal of becoming this luxury destination, I think it's okay. They can achieve that, but I do believe that it's going to take many years for them to get to that point. See you later, Alex. Alex is off to school. You better hurry up. Depends on the visa situation unfolds in the future. Okay, yeah. Well, it's interesting you say you'd get an LTR visa. Yeah, it's only until the end of March. But they could easily say, "Oh, we're going to just implement this permanently. This is going to be a permanent change." I don't know. I don't know why they don't become a little more tourism friendly, and I don't mean that means that they have to change to where everybody's happy and everybody's like, oh my God, it's so awesome. I don't know, but that's the case. Let me see here. What does it say here? This is the. It says here. During the specially granted 6-month period, the length of stay per time will be extended from 30 days to 45 days. It doesn't say anything about the extension. So, yeah, maybe it is 30 days. I don't know. I read somewhere it was 45 days. But, okay. So, you get an extra 15 days. I mean, that's better. If you think about it, the majority of tourists don't need more than 3 months. So I can kind of understand. You know. They get food. Well, do the Chinese? I don't. Do the Chinese even need a visa? This is strange now because I am home alone. This morning I woke up and I thought, I wonder what Alex is doing. I wonder what Nicholas is doing. Then I remembered, oh, Nicholas is not here. My wife is not here. She's in Vietnam right now. I'm like, oh, I got the cat. And the cat is pissed off because my wife is not here. So he's coming to me, and then, when I don't want to be bothered, he's bothering me, and when I want him around, he's not around. Carlos, there you are. Carlos, you're on your way back soon. I spoke to Jono yesterday for a few minutes, and he's like dying to come back here. He's like, ugh. And, he's staying with a friend. He's like, if I had to stay here in some hotel, it was a couple $100 a night or something, or $100 a night, he said it would have cut my stay down, So, well, actually, it's not a visa on arrival. That's not what it's considered, Spiky X. It's not a visa on arrival. It's a no visa entry. And not to be pedantic, but that's what it is. You're not getting a visa. So, and this is I know that it's, like I said, it's pedantic, but like when you get, let's say that you get a marriage visa, you get the marriage visa, that's the actual visa. Then you're going to stay, you want to stay longer, you want to extend that, you are getting an extension of stay or a stay of extension. You're not getting a new visa. You're getting a stay of extension on that visa. So, it may not matter to you and I, we all know what we're talking about, but when you go into immigration, if you do go into immigration, it pays to know the terminology, because, they may be like, talking to you going, huh, what are you saying? And then you're like, oh, well, yeah, I meant extension, Share a doobie with the cat. I don't have any doobies here now. I do have rolling papers from when I went there the one time to the Sukhumweed. But I don't know what it is, but this stuff doesn't do anything for me. But, sometimes I think the cat needs a doobie. I think the cat needs to get stoned. Anyway, when you think about it, what it all boils down to is this. And I would say, where's the guy, Andrew? If you were coming to Thailand and it cost triple the price, let's say that the Japanese prices were what you were paying, you would not be, you probably would not be here. Bangkok 31 THC approval, stay, extend stay to 45 days for countries entitled for visa exemption and 30 days for this. Well, but that's not the extension of the initial stay. That's the first 45 days. That's how I read that. Because I was just looking at the same website, the TAT News, and oh, let me see here. Oh, okay. So let's see here. Where's China? Is China on here? Let me see this list here. Past over 70 minutes. Okay. Yeah. So the length of stay for pass holders from the following countries get a visa on arrival is Bhutan, Bulgaria, China, Cyprus, Ethiopia, Fiji, Georgia, India, Kazakhstan, Malta, Mexico, Nauru, Papua New Guinea. Thank you very much, Mr. Tom. It's nice not to get shut out. I appreciate that, man. Really. I know I haven't been streaming that much, and I've been streaming more from home, but there are reasons for that. And one of them is that I don't feel like being out in the rain or this nasty humidity going across town for 2 hours just to get somewhere and sit there and have a coffee, you know, and then to start streaming. And most of the time, you guys don't really care where I am. I mean, it's nice when I'm out somewhere cool and I'm showing it to you, but if it's just, you know, let me see here. Jenna, things you're going to use have gotten bad. I no longer see the great country it once was. It breaks my heart to see what we have become. Wow. Yeah, you know, I told Carlos yesterday, and I was thinking about this. I've been thinking about it a lot. I am not ashamed to be an American. I am happy to be an American, although I am not happy about the direction that the country has been moving. And, you know, it was like I got a message from some guy the other day. Let me see if I can find it, because I was like, oh my God, come on, don't blame it all on Trump. You can't blame all this on Trump. And if anything, you can't even blame it all on Biden. I mean, seriously, by the time these guys get in and then they start getting bombarded with ideas and things they have to do, some of them never have the time to implement what they'd like to do. Some of them are they're tied, their hands are tied, they're not able to do anything because of the way that the system works. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, here it is right here. Let me read this real quick. Spent the last 5 years in Sansai, Chiang Mai. I lived directly across from the Meijo golf resort. Seen it all. Came back. God, I gotta use my glass. My eyes are getting so bad. I mean, they're getting worse and worse by the day. Seen it all. Came back to the U.S. for military injury surgery. Been back exactly 1 year. It's pathetic here in the U.S. I can't stand the garbage here anymore. I can't wait to get back home to Chiang Mai. Never again will this disabled veteran call this piece of shithole Donald Trump land home. Okay. I'm curious to know why he didn't insert and Joe Biden. But, you know, I don't want to get political, but let's not blame it on one person. Especially not Trump, sorry. It's become a effing joke around the world. I actually say I'm Canadian to hide the truth, which is actually why I said I'm not ashamed. I don't have a problem saying I'm American, but I haven't lived there in almost 30 years. You know, and so, you know, I don't have anything to do with it. I actually say I'm Canadian to hide the truth. I come from a country that is pathetic, from its crazy Trumpers to its price gouging costs of everything. Just a garbage shithole country anymore. As a disabled veteran, I, above all others, feel free to say America is a ridiculous shithole. From its stupid people through its corruptions, what? Through its corrupt corporations, and yes, its very own retarded breed of criminal crook politicians and government. Shithole. Take my advice and leave it as soon as you can for good. Life away from this crap and corruption. May it burn the rest of the way down. The U.S. is garbage. Now, to me, that's over the top, way too strong. And I don't hope that it burns down. I hope that it does well. I want to see it do well. And, you know, there is something. See, this is the thing. With Americans, some people have loyalty. Some people are just like, burn it down. No. To me, I still have loyalty to other Americans. But believe it or not, I still want America to do well because of the people there. And yes, there are stupid people, but there are stupid people everywhere. Let me read some of these here. Hey, Bob, see you in a couple days. Well, you know what? You can stay in Nicaragua. That's fine. I mean, if you don't want to come to Thailand, I understand. I understand there are things here that people don't like, so then if you don't want to come, don't come. I don't have a problem. Patia Bob doesn't have a problem with this place. Carlos doesn't have a problem with this place. Many other people here don't have a problem with this place. And the reason is because we get left alone. We don't get bothered for the most part. You show a relatively little amount of money and nobody bothers you. And you can say, oh, they rip you off at every turn. No, they don't. They don't rip me off at every turn. The only time that I might pay more for anything is when I go to a national park or I go to some amusement attraction, amusement park or something like that. And then I go, do I really want to go there? And if I don't want to go, I don't pay. It's really simple. So, there's always going to be people who don't want to come here. But, like I said, that's fine. People don't have to come if they don't want to. I don't mind that at all. I mean, that's what freedom of choice is about. You don't want to come to Thailand? Don't come. You want to live in America? Live in America. You want to live in Nicaragua? Live in Nicaragua. You want to live in the Netherlands? Live in the Netherlands. Wherever it may be. The bottom line is, for many people, Thailand is still a much better value than the United States, Norway, Finland, wherever it might be. Well, I don't take anything personally anymore. Why? Why do I got to take it personally? I look at it from a business standpoint. If the guy don't want to come, if he wants to just run back here and he really hates America so much, okay, I just don't want him around me. I don't hate America. I don't like to see what's happening, but So the thing is that there are always positives and negatives, pros and cons everywhere. There are cons here. There are plenty of negatives here. If you look, you will find them. I mean, that's the truth. I could be on the island of, I could be at Kokut, beautiful island, probably one of my favorite islands. And staying in a 5-star resort. And maybe one day I get some fruit and the papaya is a little older and it doesn't taste right. It happens. Things are not always perfect in life. And you just keep moving on. But the majority, if you look at it and you go 80 to 90% of the time, things are great here. Well, that's how it is here. For me, listen, the other thing, and I've said this for a long time, and I know some of you may not be able to relate to it. Some of you, like Patia Bob for sure, Carlos for sure. Jono is getting to this point where, he's getting to the point that I'm talking about. The heat and humidity of Thailand, yeah, you learn to tolerate it. You turn the air conditioning on. You go into a place they got air conditioning on. I mean, unless you're out in the jungle, and then you just go, I'm going to sweat my ass off, and it's going to be good for me. I mean, it's not a big deal. You don't like the heat and the rain. Well, I mean, there's going to be heat just about everywhere, unless you're in the North Pole or you're in, you're up in Norway or Sweden somewhere where it's cold all the time. So, I mean, like I say, you don't want to come here, don't come here. Colombia has its share of issues as well. Let me tell you one thing that I remember when I went to Colombia. Okay? Now, the people were great, the food was good, the coffee was fantastic. I will say the coffee was better there, far better there on the whole than here. But what I remember is going in and out of the airport, especially out of the airport. Going out of the airport, I was checked 3 or 4 times. They stopped me. They stopped me right before I was going on the plane. They stopped me before I got to the area where you sit down to wait to get on the plane. They stopped me right when I got off from the tickets. You know, I didn't like constantly being checked for drugs. You know, and then they're walking around with German shepherds and, you know, and machine guns because they're worried about people carrying drugs, you know. And so there are, you know, there's, like I said, there's positive and negatives everywhere. You know, we could beat this dead horse until there's nothing left of the horse. So, I got a one bedroom for $575. I was paying $2,000 for an extended stay in New Jersey. Gennaro, why? I'm curious to know. You've been following Thailand all this time. You know about Thai women. At the very least, I would say come over here for a year and check it out for yourself. I personally, I think I'm one of the few people who I say, hey, Thailand's great, but there are negatives. And what I was going to say is, after a few years, and Patia Bob knows it, Carlos knows it, Jono knows it, all the other guys, they know it. The long-term expats know it. I'm going to do a video about the stages of living in a foreign country. No, I haven't, but Chucky's been there and a couple other people I know have been there, and they like it. But I'm just saying, you've been putting all this time into Thailand. Why not at least give it a chance? That's what I'm saying. Now, for me, this is home. You know, like I said, in a few years, I'll have been here half my life, more than half my life. When does it become like, hey, this is my home? You know, you're a guest. No, you know, yeah, okay, I guess I was allowed in. You can say I'm a guest. You can put it however you want. The bottom line is that for me, and if you come here to live here, you're going to get to the stage where it's not like, wow, man, I can't believe I live in Thailand. It's so awesome here. It's paradise. It's the most wonderful place on the planet. Oh, my God. Oh. Yeah, every once in a while, like, there are times when I wake up in the morning, I go outside and I go, man, this is what it's all about, baby. You know, I'm sitting in a taxi. I'm on a motorcycle. I'm on the sky train. I look around. The sky is crystal clear blue. I go out and the weather is nice. Things are going good. Hey, it's a beautiful world. And then there are times when I go, oh, I got to deal with this guy. He's trying to, you know, get difficult with me. So, you know, if you come here, if just for the low cost, you will find that eventually there are things that you can't buy at a low cost. But overall, the value is quite good. Comparatively speaking, the value of Thailand is quite good. And that is the bottom line. It's not the cheapest place. You want cheap, go stay in India. You know. Go stay in Pakistan. It'll be cheap. But the value you get is not going to be nearly as great as what you get here. Well, the courtship continues. For me, it's more about I've settled in for the long haul. I'm already at the last stage, which is, you know, it's like a marriage. You're in a marriage and you love your wife so much, but there are good days and bad days sometimes. You know, I mean, come on, let's get real. You know, some days your wife is cooking you breakfast and you're sitting there going, man, I got it good. And then other days she's like, I'm busy right now. I got to go do this and I got to go do that. And you know, shit happens. I mean, you know, that's the way it goes. But the value is what it's all about. And while the value is great here, you still get a very good value here. I dare say that the value has lessened the last few years. And I think that over time, if they're trying to change to being a high income economy, and they're trying to raise the price and make this a luxury destination more than it is now, which right now you have choices, you have levels. But if they're trying to eliminate the younger people, the people who don't have as much money, I think they're shooting themselves in the foot. I've said this before. I don't think that that's the right way to do things. And yeah, they've got some fantastic places here, but if they're getting less, I mean, it's economics. If they're only getting, see, I don't understand, because they're getting the Chinese and the Indians. I can tell you that the Chinese and Indians are not paying $500 a night or $1,000 a night for a hotel. They're not doing that. So they welcome them with open arms. Oh, come, bring your tourist dollar. But then on the other hand, they're like saying, oh no, we want to make this a luxury destination. Anyway. Come one, come all. If you don't want to come here, don't come here. If you want to, go for it. I'd say there are very few people, out of all the people that I know that have come to Thailand, there are very few people. Let's say if I've known 1,000 people, I'd say maybe 20 have had, maybe 10 have had something happen to them, or something nasty happen. And I don't know if that's any higher than anywhere else. Life is not perfect. $500 a month for necessities, $1,000 that went unaccounted for, mostly fooling around with girls. So you're spending a little over $2,000 a month. I mean, that's a reasonable amount for a single guy. Quite reasonable. If you go to some places and you're spending $2,000 a month, it's not going to be all that much. What, wasn't that me? Haven't I said that many years ago? Learn to adapt to the Maipan Rai, Jayin Yin, Sabai Sabai attitude, and you will do quite well here. If you have this attitude that everything's going to bother you, you will never be okay here. You just need to learn that. And sometimes, like when I was younger, I couldn't have grasped that right away at least. Over time, I have learned it, and for the most part, I adhere to that. Because really, like when you think about it, what's so bad? What's so bad that's going to affect you? I mean, so some guy robs you and takes your wallet, and he takes $100. Okay, that sucks. That's never happened to me here. That would suck. But you know what? You'd be all right. You go and you get everything you need, and you get it back. Cancel your cards or whatever, and you go on with life. You lose $100. Is it that bad? Is it that bad that you have to pay 200 baht instead of 20? Really? No, it's not that bad. Now, sometimes out of principle, I go, I'm not going to do it because I really don't give a shit about this place. Other times, I just let my wife handle it, and I don't care. I don't care how much, we got to pay. Because I want them to be happy. It's more than just about what I want. $2,000 is a lot. Well, then why don't you stay home in America or wherever you are and don't travel then? Because $2,000 is not a lot to travel or to live somewhere if you know what you're doing. $2,000 for a single person in Thailand is more than enough. Now, 4Gs would be better, especially if you're hanging out in the G clubs and you're spending all kinds of money living the high life. I mean, and here, really, 4Gs, I say living the high life, but I mean living more than what people would think is necessary. You really want to get by. Why don't you come here on $500, D. Houston, and see how you do? Okay? I can guarantee most people $500 wouldn't last them more than a week if they didn't know what was going on here. They've never been here before. Most people would be like, If they're lucky, they could last 2 weeks. Anyway, that's not the point of the discussion. The point of the discussion is that the reason that people come here is because of the value. Listen, I've been here for far longer than when the military cracked down. And I've never felt that Thailand wasn't safe. And as far as obeying traffic rules, really? Most of the time, if you don't want to wear a helmet or you're going a little too fast or something, you get pulled over. I mean, it hasn't happened to me in probably since before I was married, so about 25 years, where I got pulled over and I didn't have a helmet on. The guy goes, 500 baht, or you got to go to the courthouse. And then another time I wasn't wearing a helmet, and the guy goes, you got to go to the courthouse. And I went, okay, and I paid 500 baht. No big deal. I'm used to having it the way I planned it, so it's going to be a learning experience. Well, you better get ready now, Gennaro. Truth is that, take it easy, baby. Take it as it comes. Go real slow. You gotta kind of just take it as it comes, man. Well, drunk driving is something they don't look highly upon here. Where do they look highly upon it? I would not recommend doing that. And, why would you? Why would you drive drunk here? You get a moto driver, you get a taxi. Anyway. Don't drive drunk. Don't drive drunk wherever you are. That's my suggestion. And Gennaro, you seem to be fairly laid back. I think you'll be fine. You kind of gotta hope for the best and prepare for the worst. And generally, the worst never comes. I mean, really, the majority of the time, I don't know. I don't see these problems that some people are talking about, and maybe it's because I'm so experienced or something like that, or I've got my wife with me. Okay, maybe, but most of the time, no. My wife is not with me everywhere. I don't need her to go with me to make sure I can get the right price or something like that. Now, everybody's not going to be the same. Maybe you can't read Thai. Maybe you can't see, this is what they're saying. So I understand, yes, things happen, but you learn over time. And it's like, what are you talking about? Are you talking about, I'm going to make a business deal for $500,000? Well, if you're going to do a business deal for $500,000 and shell out the money for somebody who you trust, or somebody who's Thai that you can trust to be with you so that you don't get ripped off, so that you do know the ins and outs. I mean, that's how you do it. You're not talking about a hell of a lot of money. Gennaro, again, Thai time, most of the time, if I take something in to be fixed, and they go, Thursday, I get it on Thursday. Sometimes they go, oh, not come, sorry. You might have to wait a couple of days. So you don't put yourself in a position, if you can avoid it, you don't put yourself in a position where you absolutely need whatever it is you're getting fixed. But sometimes you just have to do without, like, oh, I got to get my TV fixed. Oh, sorry, the part don't come. Have big problem now, transport, Okay, might be right. Whatever, It all boils down to, is it really that big of a deal? Might be right. You got to learn that mentality. Or I know guys who they're upset about every little thing that happens, and they never last. A girl tries to explain to them why things are the way they're. I don't care. No, I want this. Well, then you know what? Then you don't belong here. Yeah, I heard that, Timmy dog. I heard that. You don't do business in Thailand. I saw so many scams, mostly nut job foreigners. They make Thailand their playground, preying on unsuspected newbies. That's another generalization, and that's a relatively incorrect statement that you just made. Because there are foreigners who do business here, and they do quite well, and they're not ripping people off. If you're in some tourist neighborhood and some guy's like, hey man, I can, or they're sitting there at the bar and they go, oh, you want a deal? I can get you a deal, man. Well, then what do you expect? But, the majority of legitimate businesses, the people have been here a fair amount. Look at all the bars in Pattaya. You think that they stay in business day after day after day, just ripping people off left and right, unsuspecting foreigners? No, they don't. It's rubbish. It's rubbish, really. And there are nut job foreigners here, for sure. And stay away from them. Well, I don't know. I don't know about a Spanish guy with a jewelry shop here in Thailand. Yeah, I don't know. That's not the kind of business that usually a foreigner would operate. So I don't know. It could have been some other kind of thing that he's got set up. It's just like when you go into the mall, Bangkok, the first thing you see is one of those Israeli sea salt cosmetics business. Now, I have no idea whether their product works or not. But they have girls standing out there who are trying to grab older Thai women and get them to come in. Oh, this will make you even more beautiful, honey. I know you're 89 years old and this is going to make you look like you're 20 again. No. But, people know this shit. And what was funny is that the one time I said, can I have a sample of that? Well, let me put it on your skin. I said, I don't want it on my skin. I'm going to give it to my wife and let her and see what she thinks. No, cannot. I said, why not? You want my wife to come in here and buy? No, cannot. Okay. And she had an attitude, and I was like, whatever. Depends on where you want to stay. I am in Pattaya, and I got a 1-bedroom and for $575. Older builders for cheaper. Well, the price. Listen. If you really want, you can get yourself a studio apartment without a bathroom, and it's going to cost you $80 a month. But we're talking about a standard of living that is at the very least decent. We're not talking about 5-star, but we're talking 2 or 3-star at a minimum. I've lived in this condo or townhouse for years. It's certainly not the greatest townhouse, but for the price, it's a great value. And the house that we had before was about in today's prices, it was about $165. And it was a 3-bedroom 3 bedroom, 2 bath house, and it was nice, man. We had our own yard. It was right next to the hospital, so if anything happened, when our kids were growing up, uh, you know, well, the thing is that there's a difference between how I act with foreigners who are assholes and Thais who maybe don't understand or they're just doing their job or something like that. But seldom do I get irritated. About the only people that I get irritated with are taxi drivers. And to be honest, the taxi drivers are getting a raise coming up, so they have nothing to complain about. And I saw the other day that there was some guy who got pissed because 26 taxis went by and would not pick him up. And here's the thing, now they're starting to say again, take a photo of the license plate and report them. You can report them to the Department of Land Transport quite easily. And what's going to happen is they're going to shape up. And the Thai government is saying, "Oh, we're going to have to have courses for these taxi drivers so that they can learn how to deal with foreigners and how to be decent taxi drivers." There is an attitude here from some of the people, and I would say it's a very small percentage. If anybody who lives here is in the chat right now, you can back me up or you can disagree with me, but there is a small percentage of people who they find it irritating that they even have to deal with foreigners. And really, I only see this, I seldom see it. I generally see it with taxi drivers. And I see it, occasionally in other places, but not very often, okay? But it does happen. Bolt drivers, Grab drivers, in drivers, they're all the same. Generally good. Once in a while, you will get a guy, like I talked about it the other day, a guy I call up, I go, "Hey, can you come pick me up?" I give him the address. Numerous people have come and picked me up. They know exactly where I am. This guy goes one village over. It's a street over. And he says, "I'm here." And I said, "No, I'm in front of my house right now. I don't see you. You are not here. You are not in the right place." And then I looked and I saw where he was. I go, "No, you got to come one street over," it would have taken him 2 minutes. He hung up on me and canceled the trip, and then I reported him for not coming and picking me up. He made me wait like 15 minutes, and then he didn't come and pick me. He didn't come and pick me up. No, there's not a simple. I don't think you know what you're talking about, pal. Honestly, it's not only limited to the airport. There's no problems at the airport, really. If you go and get the ticket, you go up to the taxi. In all the times I've taken taxis from the airport, one time did a guy not want to turn on the meter. And I told him, "You turn that meter on or you stop right now." Boom. Meter went right on. He just thought he could get away with it, and he didn't. Other than that, I've never had a problem from the airport, whether it's Don Muang or Suvarnabhumi. And as far as Sukhumvit, okay, there are other places. There are plenty of other places you can have a problem with. Guarantee you. Well, that's a little bit different story if there's construction, if there are problems in the area and it's difficult for them to get around. But for the most part, you don't have problems with those guys. The problems tend to come with the everyday driver who's not part of those. And they get pissed off because people are not taking them. They're taking Grab. They're taking Bolt. They're taking in driver. They get pissed off. And I said to a taxi driver the other day, I said, you guys should really be nice because once the SkyTrain goes up, people are going to be like, "I don't need a taxi. What am I going to take a taxi for?" And that's the idea. get less people on the road, and it will be a little bit easier. Start using some of this alternative transportation. And Thailand does have great transportation. Wherever it is, the transportation system is great. They're getting new buses shortly. They've got the SkyTrain and subway they're working on. The boats, they're starting to change over to electric boats, and they're working to uh, expand the boat network, the boat taxi network. So at the very least, you can say, if I live in Bangkok, I have transportation. There's a good transportation network. However, at this point, right now, with the SkyTrain and subway not completed, this area where I am, and say Ronkonkong, and there are several other areas a ways away, the traffic is just miserable. And so, if you're going to go somewhere, for me to go over to like where Jono is, if there's no traffic, I'm there in 25 minutes. When there's traffic, it'll take me an hour and 15 minutes, depending on how heavy the traffic is. Now, that's just not okay. And he knows. It's like, I'll be like, you want to come over here? I don't want to go out, man. No. And then I'll be like, well, maybe I'll go over there. And then it's like, if I don't have something else to do, if I can't piggyback something on a trip, I'm going to go over there and I'm going to go, there's a place down the street that sells this or that. I'm going to go pick some up. And then I'm going to go to this other place. And then I'm going to go over and see him because I'm in the area. That's a different story. It's much easier because you're getting more done with one trip. But just to say, oh, I'm going to take off and go across town, it's going to take me an hour to get there. And it's really only a 25-minute trip. No. I'll never live in Phuket for that very reason. The taxi mafia there, and the prices, and same with the Koh Samui. You're better off just having your own vehicle. That's the one. That's the two places where you should have a motorbike or something. And quite honestly, if you're in Phuket and you're going back and forth from Phuket town down to the, Patong area. I don't know that you want to be driving those roads, especially if it's raining and, it get a bit nasty. Even in Hua Hin, there's traffic now. And I was very surprised the last time that I was there. So that's another thing. Now I know that down where we go in the south in Soratani, that there is very little traffic where we are located. Now that's the whole province, but the area that we are located, there is almost no traffic. It's fantastic. You see one or two cars on the road, and that's about it. Headache. Too much looking at the computer monitor. Good stuff. Anyway, so I think we've come to the conclusion of our discussion about why people are here. Some of these things, we already know what they are. And like I said, to be honest, Thailand's been done to death. It's done to death as a tourist destination. How many times can you go to the Grand Palace? How many times can you go to Wat Po? I don't know. Went to Chinatown the other day. Hadn't been there in a while. Yeah, that was all right, but I didn't really spend a whole lot of time there, so I could go back and I could find, some stuff to do. I could be entertained. It is time for a trip, but with the wife gone, the kids not around, and I still need well, there you go. The wife is the only reason you come to Thailand. Um, there you go. Value. Value for the dollar. That's the whole thing. People are not coming here only because they want to see beautiful places. Because they get to come see beautiful places and it doesn't cost them as much. If you were paying $300 a day like you do in Bhutan, would you be coming here? I don't think so. I think only the wealthiest people would be coming, and I don't think that many of them would come, honestly. That's one reason I haven't gone to Bhutan. First of all, I know people who've gone there. Second of all, I'm like, do I want to spend that much money? No. For that amount of money, I could spend it somewhere else and get a lot more time out of it and a lot more enjoyment, or I would think a lot more enjoyment. You know. So, temples, yeah, temples, that's where you're going. Anytime somebody says they're going for temples, I just gotta go, ugh, sure. $60 an hour, wow. I had this discussion the other day with my friend, and here, a Thai massage will cost you between 150 to about 350 baht an hour, depending on where you are, where you're getting the massage. Are you getting a massage in a hotel? Are you getting a massage in a tourist area? Is it an area where things are generally very cheap, or is it an area where things they tend to be a little more expensive? But like, I can go all day long and get a massage. It's 179 baht an hour. You get a 2-hour massage. You give them four. My wife gives them 400 baht. You know, my wife will go and get a massage, get a facial, get her nails done, get her hair done, and it all is under 1,000 baht. You know, so yeah. When I say a Thai massage, I mean a legitimate massage. The hanky-panky type massage is not generally a real massage. The girls who are giving real massages, like, they are a legitimate masseuse. They tend to be a little bit older. I mean, some of the best masseuses that I've ever come across have been ladies who are 50, 60, 70 years old, and their fingers are like little fat sausages, and they're so strong, and they really know what they're doing. And they'll give you a great massage. But, you know, like, if you're like, hey, you want to finish me off, honey? They'd be like, what the hell? You know. In some of the places, you might get, you know, a bit younger girl. And depending on the situation, all right, maybe she'd finish you off. I don't know. But if you go into a place in a shopping mall or something like that, generally, it's not going to happen. You know, you go to a legitimate place. Go to a place on Beach Road in Pattaya. You think they're going to be giving you a hand job right there as you know, your buddy's sitting there right there? No, they're not going to do that. You think they're going to blow you? No, it's not going to happen. So, you know, if you're coming for that, then you're coming for that. You're coming for a massage, you're coming for a massage. Some of those old ladies, I've told the story several times. When I was working in boxing, they used to bring these old ladies in from down the street at this temple out in Pinklau. And, you know, they were older. They were definitely not what you would go, you know, you wouldn't look at them and go, woo, she's a looker, baby. No, she was a 60-year-old woman, you know, or women, 60-something-year-old women. And, you know, a bit chubby. But, you know, you could tell, like, in their forearms, you could see that their forearms were kind of ripped and their hands were all gnarled. And they would give massages to the fighters, and they would, and to me once in a while, and we would we'd be in pain for a bit, and they'd say, "Oh, might been right. Tomorrow you very good, you know," and they were right. Or you might be in pain the next day. You're like, "Oh man," you might even have bruises on you. But then the following days, you would feel much better because their massages were so good, you know. So, you want a good massage, you know, find a place that you like. If the lady gives a good massage, stick with them if you can, you know. Otherwise, most guys who are coming here as a tourist, they don't care where they get their massage. They get a massage, they get a massage. Hopefully, it's a good massage. You know, they're not setting out specifically. I'm going to go to this, I'm going to go to, you know, Wat Po or something. I'm going to get massages from all these people here. That's where I'm going to stick to. Traveling around the country, you know. If you're an expat like me, listen, I've gone to the place that's 179 baht, and I've had I told this story. I went into a place, and you know, they always have these cute girls, semi-cute, standing out, oh, come inside, you know, that kind of thing. And I just ignore them most of the time. Then one time I was like, all right, my calf hurt, my one of my feet, one of my foots, one of my feet really hurt, and I was like, I need a massage. So I go in, and I'm thinking, oh, the little girl who brought me in is gonna do my massage. All right, at least I got some little cute girl that's giving me a massage, and hopefully she'll give me a good massage. No, they brought in the little gay guy. He's about 100 pounds, and I'm like, oh no, you know. I was like, I'm like, I'm gonna close my eyes. He gave me the best massage. Fantastic massage. The fish foot bath, no big deal, man. It's not a big deal. Then I went there again, and there was an older woman, and she was kind of, you know, powerful looking. She was a powerful looking woman. And I got the massage from her, and I was like, this woman is horrible. She gives the worst massage. It was like, she was like just touching me. And I'm like, I feel nothing from her. I don't feel like she's getting into the problem areas. She's not giving me a deep massage. I'm not getting anything out of this. When I was done, I was like, man, I cannot give this lady a good tip. And I gave her something like 40 baht or something, you know. It was like ridiculous. I was so disappointed. I haven't gone back since then. And when my wife comes back, I'll ask her, all right, where you been going lately? Are you still going to the same place? Because, you know, in all likelihood, there's a high turnover rate. You won't get the same person if you give it a little bit of time, you know. Yeah, everybody has their story where they go to some masseuse here, and it's some girl who doesn't, oh, I in training. I just come 1 month now. They teach me. And I'm like, why do I have to have the student? I want the master, you know. So, but anyway, the point is that, you know, you're talking about $5.50, $5 maybe, $5 an hour. So for, let's say by the time you give them a tip and everything, it's $13 for a 2-hour massage. Not bad, considering maybe back home you'd pay $60 an hour times 2 hours plus a tip. You're talking 140, 150 bucks. So where's the value there? There are a lot of things where in Thailand you get a great value. Today I'm going to go get some pad thai for Alex and I for dinner. And while there is a place, I found a place in Happy Land. The pad thai is 20 baht. Now, it used to be 5 baht at the same kind of place. They just put out a big plate, a big tray of pad thai that they made. It's not as good as the pad thai that's made for you. It's just put out, and they don't give you quite as much. But if you're, you know, some guy and you don't want to eat that much, you just want a little something, it's 20 baht. 20 baht. If I go inside, they'll cook me up some pad thai for 50 baht a pop. 50 baht for like a a pad thai with chicken. 60 baht for pad thai with shrimp. How much it used to be, 20, 30 baht or 5 baht on a big tray, doesn't really matter because that's not what it is now. But there is a good value for that, considering how much is charged elsewhere. It's not always that way though. Let's just face facts. It's still overall a good value. If the prices continue to go up, if they really start implementing things like higher prices for foreigners at hotels and that sort of thing, well, then the value disappears. And instead of being that much, of a difference, now it's this much. And then it becomes a situation where you're going, hey, I can go to Costa Rica and I may get the same prices there. It might even be a little bit more expensive, but God, I can fly from Miami there for 200 bucks. And I'm there in a couple of hours. Whereas when I go to Southeast Asia, it's going to take me a full day to go, a full day to come back. It's going to cost me $1,000. So there you go. Anyway, I think we've about this subject has run its course. Hopefully, Thailand will continue to retain its value, and it will continue to provide numerous options for people, and that includes people who want to do it on the cheap. I mean, I've done plenty of trips on the cheap. I'm just like, listen, I'm going to stay at this hotel. I go to Prachuap. I stay in Maggie's guest house. Cost me like 200-300 baht a night. If I want to pay like 300 baht a night, I have a halfway decent room. 200 is like, it's okay. It'll do the job. But I don't know what the prices are now. It's been a couple of years since I've been there. Gennaro, I'm sure you remember that. When I was going to go to the south and I just decided to stop there. And I do like it there. And I kind of want to go back. But I know that I can go there on the cheap. And it's perfectly acceptable. So there's the value right there. Do I have to go? Do I feel the need to go to a place and stay overnight and pay $150 a night? No, I don't. Rarely do I feel that way. The only time that I've really ever stayed in places that were $100, $200 a night is when I was doing it for business, or I had some kind of, there was a special reason for me to do it. That doesn't happen very often. Anyway, thank you very much. Do please remember to leave a thumbs up. I would appreciate it. Supposedly it helps. I don't know that it really does, but supposedly it helps. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. I would appreciate that. I don't remember if Chucky's gone to the DR. I think he has, but I don't remember. He'll be here. He's leaving in October for Taiwan, and then he'll be here in November. Hey, how you doing there, Mike? What's happening? I was thinking about you guys the other day. I'm like, I wonder how he's doing. Yeah, everything's pretty good here. Everybody's growing up, and I'm growing old. Chucky, he's like, I can't wait until North Korea opens up again. You gotta go to North Korea. It's gonna help your channel. And I'm like, I really don't. I don't get excited about North Korea at all. But he said he wants to go somewhere else. So I don't know if it's somewhere in South America. My idea is to go somewhere in South America and then head up to Ecuador. I had a long conversation with my buddy who owns a place in Ecuador, and he rents it out as Airbnb place, and he does very well from it, and it's a very nice place. It's about 2 minutes from the beach, and he's already said that, the wife and I can stay there. We, everything's copacetic with that, and so maybe I can work something out to where to where I go somewhere else in South America and then head up to Ecuador. I know Chucky's already been to Ecuador, but maybe he'd want to go. I don't know. So, you know, I'm not in any hurry, you know. I'm not in any big hurry. I wanna kind of like wait and see and pick and choose a little bit more carefully. Well, I would go. I'm not going to go to South Africa. He's already been there. It would be somewhere else on the African continent. Uh, and I would do that. But also the thing is I would like to go to South America. There are some places that he wants to go. Oh, hey man, all right, you're coming to Thailand. Welcome to Thailand. You need to turn up. Oh, very good. You come back Thailand. I think you're very happy. But I would like to go up, and I've already got I got the video tour of the place in Ecuador, and it's very nice. And I would like to go there. And my buddy is constantly, you know, talking about, you got to come here, you got to come here. You would love it there, and you don't get any of the BS that you get in Thailand. But you know, I don't know. I'm very, very comfortable here, and it would take a hell of a lot for us to make a big move like that. And I don't think we're there yet because the kids have to finish school, but you know, that's neither here nor there. Anyway, come to Thailand. Come say hello me. You won't hear me talking about sorry. I never have liked the Thais and their sorries because most of the time they don't mean it. I remember bitching and moaning about that. Oh, Surin, Phuket, and the Maldives. I was going to talk about the Maldives. Maldives is a high-end destination. Very nice place. And to me, there are places in Phuket that are high-end. Definitely the Maldives is high-end. Good place, luxury destination. So, yeah. Anyway, if you have not already joined as a member, please consider doing so. Check down in the description. Get yourself a shirt, whether it's one of these or another one, or get yourself a hat. Where's my hat set? My wife likes to wear this hat. Sorry, not sorry. There we go. I like this one. Yeah. I love Thailand so much. Get yourself a hat, whatever. But check down in the description. Everything's there. So, appreciate everybody joining me here. It's time to get on out of here. The morning is, breakfast awaits, wherever it might be. I don't know where it is, but hopefully Sunday I'll be back and maybe I'll be out and about somewhere. I don't know. I've really got to think about where I want to go this time. I didn't particularly like the last destination I went to, considering where I am and where I had to go, and you know, it wasn't really worth the trip to go there. That coffee shop, nice coffee shop, but it's a bit far from me and it was a bit sterile. Thank you, Mr. Mike. Say hello to Amy, or hello Amy if you're there. What D. And thank you. That is all. Until next time, choke the jerk and my. Good luck and see you when I see you. Thank you. That is all. No, these are US sizes. So this, I wear an XL in US, and in Thai I generally wear an XXL. So these are US sizes. All the t-shirts, everything is US. It's not, none of this Thai sizing. So anyway, talk to you guys later.